I'm going to show you the best way to install one of the Max for Live plugins that I've made. Inside Live, open the browser and then you'll see the library and places, and in places select the user library, and if it's the first time you've installed a Have Fun plugin, then right click in a bit of free space, make a new folder, call it Have Fun, then unzip the plugin, and when that's done, drop it into the Have Fun folder, and you'll see the demo files and plugins associated. And anytime you want to use one of these plugins, just drag it onto your project and you'll get the plugin instantiated and you're ready to go. Hello and welcome to the video walkthrough for NoteRota, which will hopefully show you all the functions and how to set it up. NoteRota is a Max for Live MIDI plugin for Ableton Live 11 and 12, and it allows you to send MIDI notes from one clip to a variety of different destinations. So you could send it to software synths or hardware synths or a combination of the two. So in this session I've got one NoteRota with some chords playing into it, and then there are 3 destinations set on the NoteRota. You could change this up to 16. And then the NoteRota spits out the notes and they go to a corresponding Jbus. So this is Jbus 1. It goes at the start of the track and then a MIDI instrument goes afterwards. We've got Jbus 2, which as you can see is set to 2, and Jbus 3, which is set to 3. So I'm going to show you a simple sequence. So this is just the A note. And you can see that every time NoteRota gets a note, it steps onto the next output. And that's because it is set to incremental. If we sent, for instance, a little chord of 2 notes, it would step 2 notes each time. So there we go. And you can see that it goes to the different outputs. So 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 2 and 3. I'm going to turn the drums off so you can hear what is happening a bit more easily. So basically, let's turn all the delay off so it's easier to hear. It's going to cycle that one note through all the outputs. If I put that down to 2, it'll just cycle the first 2 outputs. 1, it'll just send it to the first output. So you can also send to random outputs. So each time NoteRota gets a note, it's going to decide on a random output. And it could pick output 2 like 3 times in a row. Similar to random is the bingo output, which is basically it picks all the outputs and then it randomly picks one of the outputs again. So it's a bit like taking numbers out of the bingo callers, whatever that thing is called, tombola. You can set the outputs manually, and of course you could automate this in live. You can use an LFO to decide which output to use, and you can click and drag on the little visualizer to go through the LFO shapes, which are sine, triangle, ramp, square, and then noise. Or you could just use the shape control, and then you can add FM. So yeah, lots of stuff there. You can synchronize the LFO to the clock. And the last way of deciding which output to use is to set a little sequence. And you've got step control. As you can see, like, you can go between output 1, 2, and 3. Let's put the chords back on. Let's imagine we wanted to try using the chords with one more instrument. So first thing I want to do is put the destinations up to 4, and then that will give us another step on the sequence. And then let's actually get rid of these MIDI tracks here. Let's make a new MIDI track. We'll go to our user library, drag a Jbus, set that to 4, and now that will receive MIDI every time NoteRota gets to the 4th output. And we need to put a instrument on that. So let's just pick that on. Why not? And then I'm going to drag that inside my little group so that it gets ducked when I start speaking, so you can hear what I'm saying. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, well, I'm not that into that. So I can just maybe try a different sound. So it's not too difficult to just add extra tracks and change sounds and change the way that you address the outputs. Now I'm going to show you some of the MIDI processing features of NoteRota. So in normal mode, the MIDI notes go through in a fairly normal fashion, so the note ons and note offs and velocity, it's all the same as it is in your clip. You can use sustain mode to chop off the note off messages. So basically it's like playing with a sustain pedal pressed. So this is what it sounds like normally. And then if I set sustain mode, and you can see that the number of active notes is like going up quite considerably. I can clear the notes, which is quite a nice effect, so you can get them to really swell up and then clear, and you can automate that clear function in Live. We'll go back to normal mode for a minute, and then I'm just going to show you the double toggle. The double basically creates an extra note and sends it out to the next output. So you get this kind of nice sort of thickening effect, and the notes are spread across two instruments. So the next mode is velocity and duration sequencing, and you can use a sequence which you define to replace the velocity and duration of the incoming MIDI notes. It sounds a bit complicated, but basically I can turn them off and it'll be just the same as normal mode, so it'll sound like this. So if I turn the input velocity on, and put it right down, makes all the notes a lot quieter. I can turn notes completely off by setting it to 0. Which is quite useful if you want to thin out a sequence. And you can use this multiplier to reduce the overall velocity of everything, or you can increase it. You can also use the duration sequencer to make all the notes short. This is velocity and duration. And you can create these really nice dynamic versions of your chords. Go back to normal mode. A lot more expressive. You can use that with double as well. The final few features are there is a reset or no reset toggle, and that basically resets the count starting at 1 for the output, and also will reset these sequences. Every time I start, it will start at 1. But if I turn that off, it carries on from where it left off. And then mono, basically by output, it will make sure that the notes that come out are in mono. That might be useful if you have an older synth that can't handle polyphonic MIDI. And then you've got Midi Through, which sort of it will put the MIDI out the end of the plugin, so you could put an instrument after. So if I turn off the instruments on the Jbuses and then press Midi Through, it's just a way for us to hear the raw MIDI on this clip. Finally, I'd like to show you how to record the MIDI output from NoteRota in case you need it like that. So I'm going to make a new track. Say I want to record the MIDI from Jbus 1. I just select that track. Actually, let's just record all of them. So Jbus 2, Jbus 3, I'm just going to record, enable all those tracks. And now you can see that all the MIDI notes are being recorded on their specific channels. And that's that really. I hope you have a really good time with NoteRota, and I'd love to hear any music you make with it.